Guess no it gotta be like this. How did end? We made it like Cold War. We ain't close. So we gonna be here.
Somebody talk black to me. To American reparations, ADOS, American descendants of slavery is what the hashtag founders have called this particular camp. But I certainly acknowledge and shout out the other very, very real legitimate camps that have been on the front line of reparations for many decades, much longer than the hashtag has been around. So again, the intelligent people understand this. Thinking people, free thinking black people for real, you would know that our point of agreement with other reparations camps is that we demand reparations. We demand our bill to be paid from this government. Let that be our unification point. And woe unto any others that would try to separate us because of some simple differences about some logistics that we haven't even all come to the table to discuss. Pay attention to those that refuse to listen to other voices. This is too big a project to be in the hands of such a small few. I'm preparing this video, family, so that you can see this. This latest breaking news that I shared earlier today regarding what took place in Newark, which I am so pleased and excited about. I believe this is it right here. Give me a minute. Yes, family. So as I'm cueing this, I want you to, I'm gonna give commentary. It's only a few minutes, but I'm gonna give commentary in between, black family. Again, we are talking about the incident, the encounter that took place with Reverend Mark Thompson and Africa the Great. It was alleged that it was an ADOS person, meaning Africa, but Africa said that he had not met with the founders of the ADOS hashtag movement. However, his talking points, I believe, and his positioning is what caused some to believe that ADOS was involved. And it wasn't just that, which that does not mean it was right for people to jump to that conclusion, but I'm saying it would make sense because of the talking points he had. But during a previous interview, he said he had not met with the founders and basically was saying that that the founders, him talking to the founders, I guess, had nothing to do with that particular incident. That's at least what I took from what he was saying. However, I know, and we have seen several folks have seen the fact that folks that advocate for ADOS and that claim themselves to be ADOS folk were using that incident for that particular agenda. And I bear witness to that because I was at the end of some of that. They were actually utilizing this particular man's incident for ADOS purposes. So that's another reason why I think some folks felt that ADOS was behind it. The American descendants of slavery potentially includes millions upon millions. It's arrogant of you to think that 2 or 3 of you will have the bandwidth, the intellectual bandwidth and prowess to deal with an issue that involves literally a nation within a nation. That is to say, the black man and the black woman in America. Now, the number one defendant is the United States of America. We're dealing with the issue certainly of reparations, American descendants of the enslaved or slavery, whichever reparations camp you may fall on. Somebody talk black to me. Well, in lieu of this conversation, in lieu of all of that I've just said, shout out to you, a macro level. Are y'all hearing me? We too often are at odds with enemies within and without. And so I wanted to, first of all, congratulate Reverend Mark Thompson and Africa the Great for being willing to come to the table. Are y'all hearing me? It is so important. I, as a woman with feminine energy, how many of you all know that we have a mix of both feminine and masculine energy? But as a woman, obviously, we have a greater percentage of the feminine for most of us. Somebody talk black to me, because I'm not trying to be a man. Guess who that is? Guess who that is? And I'm going to show you another one. I'm going to show you another one. Somebody said, that's you. Yes, that's me. That's your sister. Hold on. I wanted to give you a full length, and I took this picture the same day. It's only one picture I ever took. One picture I ever took during the nearly 4 years that I was in the belly of the beast. That's your sister with my twists. I know my hair looks really, really short there, but believe it or not, it's a big, thick. It was a big, thick fro, especially when they blew it out. But that is how I operated. But I find something curious about this emphasis amongst us on this overemphasis. Let me say this on the distinction we keep making about the American descendants of slavery, American descendants of the enslaved. I know that the technical term for ADOS is American descendants of slavery. I'm showing respect not only to the hashtag ADOS, not only to the actual American descendants of slaves or of slavery, but also I'm respecting and acknowledging other reparations candidates, understanding that the God, the Creator himself, is set to judge this nation that has mistreated us for so very long. Somebody talk black to me. Now, those are just a couple. We know about N-Cobra. Shout out to N-Cobra as well. That has been around for so many decades. It's been doing good work. In fact, I think they've got an upcoming conference, if I'm not mistaken, in June, family. We don't want to ignore those folk. We don't want to see a harvest pop up because of the momentum that's behind the talk of reparations and then ignore the people that have been sowing the seeds for so long. Somebody talk black to me. That's not the black way. That's not the African way. We respect our elders. We respect the work of others around us and those that are presently doing the work as well. Let's not take on Eurocentric and European ways of doing things by getting an attitude and disrespecting those that have come before us. Somebody talk black to me. That's due. But we have elders among us that have been paying the price, literally their blood, their sweat through books. They've actually traversed the halls of Congress, some of them. Shout out to Dr. Claude Anderson, for example. He's traversed the halls of Congress on our behalf, whether you knew it or not. Shout out to folk like him who've actually spent their black dollars in court on our behalf. Somebody talk black to me. Shout out to you, Larry, for your gift. May it be returned to you 1,000-fold. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, the Nation of Islam, has for decades, close to 90 years, made the demand officially in every one of their publications every single week, in addition to teaching about business, in addition to teaching about doing for self, understanding that this government is ultimately going to have to bow its knee. And more than that, understanding. So what I want us to keep in mind, ADOS, is that yes, we have a problem amongst some camps that disrespect us, black immigrants in particular, some of them. But we should go about schooling them about the truth and remembering that it is the same open enemy that has made them believe these things about us. Here's another thing I want you to keep in mind. When we are discussing reparations, some of you do come off arrogant. I know I'm going to have some trolls on this, but I want to be truthful to my conscience. It is in some camps coming off as arrogant. Kamala Harris is a political thought. I do not mean to be disrespectful in what I'm saying, but I do mean to be firm for us to look at the traits of that thought, T-H-O-T. Doesn't that mean that hoe over there? Y'all know I did a series about Cardi B, and I connected the fact that Donald Trump is the Cardi B of government, that hoe over there. Are they looking for another one in your girl, Kamala Harris? See, black people, we're not going for that, because you know why? Having a face in the White House, and number one, she's ambivalent about whether or not she's black today or Asian tomorrow or mixed race or something else. Things up to say by certain technical names and different appellations that we throw on stuff, on things. That's true. However, there are other forms of oppression that our enslaved Caribbean brothers and sisters endured as well. Now, for those of you who might be missing the point, I said I am for reparations, and I said what? I understand the distinction, but only for legal purposes, because that's how the courts of jurisprudence works. That's how jurisprudence works. You have to have standing. And just like with anything, if you're not a person that's entitled to a claim, you don't get to approach the court. That's the only reason I see us making a distinction. If the distinction is not legal, why are we discussing it? Or presenting it in a way that could be construed, and then frankly, that is being construed as divisive.
ADOS stands for American Descendants of Slavery. It is a group established only to set up the lineage that you need to make a claim of reparation. There's a lot of people out here standing out here, from people of color to Pan-Africanism, that don't even know that you stand against reparations. Your very position is against reparations. What do you mean, Tone? Well, if you ain't ready to establish the low threshold we've set up for ADOS, then you don't believe in American reparations. See, ADOS is literally not doing no purity tests or anything like the Native Americans. We just saying you need to have one. You need to have one descendant of American slavery in your family to be part of ADOS. If you don't want to believe in that group, then just say it out loud that I don't believe that there should be U.S. reparations. Stop playing around and not talking about it, or saying that you believe in it, but not in the way that ADOS is talking about it. You just don't believe in U.S. reparations.
We're seeing these very prominent black faces in mainstream news, right? That purport to be black and purport to represent black issues. But really, they're anti-black policies and people that they support. I asked the question, and not even really a question. I posited this notion, and that is, you'll never believe why black politicos are attacking their own people.
Troublesome nigga. Troublesome 19 motherfucking 96. Let it be